But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's your guy, just get the ball.
Yeah, stop the ball.
Yeah. So that's the help side, essentially, is being prepared for those times when that person gets beat. So I call this like effective communication versus just communication. It's important that I'm not saying help, 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 because that's what coaches teach you, right? It's like when you're in help, scream help. When you're on ball, scream ball.
But then they'll also teach you if you get beat, start yelling help.
Yeah.
It's very
help,
confusing.
Help. Yeah. So who's helping? Are you now in help? It's a lot. So then I don't even speak the whole time. And they think if you're not communicating, then something's wrong. Like if you're not talking the whole time. But that just wins people out.
Yeah.
So effective communication is important.
So that was actually one of my questions was, is there such a thing as too much communication?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's nonsense. So now you're just saying words to fill air.
Yep.
And then you're probably louder maybe than someone who needs to be speaking. And they're relying on you now, what you're saying, and they're not going to say anything because, well, if I even speak up, no one's going to hear me because you're saying help, 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 ball, ball, ball.
Yeah.
I'm huge on, if I'm in help side, I literally say to the person that's supposed to be getting help up there, hey, I've got low, you're up, and I'll say their name.
Yeah.
Like, Sally, you've got up. Hey, Jen, I've got your drive if you're over here. And that's it.
I'm Jeremy Vance, and this is the FAQing Security Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the FAQing Security Podcast. I'm here with Erin Bollmann. She can talk.
Oh, hello. I am Erin. Play at the floor.
That's it. That's all I kind of want to do. But we're gonna do a little bit of talking today about basketball. Erin, which we'll go into a second here, is a very good basketball player. And we'll kind of use that as for what I do in security and how I try to teach using analogies and try to teach using symbolism in a way. So if I'm talking about port forwarding and IT stuff, I actually am going to talk to you about an apartment building and how to get a letter from the front door to a specific apartment. That's what port forwarding is in IT. In security side, we're going to talk about like lockdown defenders and perimeter defense and help defense and how that relates to security as well too. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So let's go ahead and start with just a little background on you. I have a feeling that because my podcast doesn't get that many viewers currently, that most of the people that'll listen to this will actually know who you are already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you tag me.
Yeah, I'll tag you. I'll even let you post it on yours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I will.
But let's go ahead and start with giving us just kind of a rundown of your background in basketball and how you got from America to here in Australia, where we're on an Australian podcast with two people who sound American.
Yeah. How does this work? And do I talk to you?
Yeah, you can talk to me. You can talk to camera.
Cut that out.
I'm not going to cut that out.
Well, I'll talk to camera then. No, I'm talking to you. I have been playing basketball for the last 20 plus years. I started in high school. A little bit before that, did kind of random playing. I was terrible at it at that point. So my family put me in different sports to kind of compensate for how terrible I was. So basketball, volleyball, softball. Did a little bit of gymnastics. Lasted 3 days. Okay. And after a while, basketball became kind of my favorite one. And so my parents did a really good job of putting me in those sports and keeping me in those sports. So gave money to put me in AAU over the summers. Any extra trainings, there was individuals that I could go to. And yeah, it's slowly got more offers for basketball than I anticipated. So Division II, Division I, nice. Junior college.
Now, with that process, about what age did your parents and you decide that that was your sport?
You know, I would say pretty late compared to other people. It was about junior year of high school.
Okay.
So when I think I got my first couple letters without me trying for basketball, we were like, okay, I think we should put more money into this.
Because that's like, what, 15, 16?
2000.
I don't need the year.
Oh,
roughly,
before that,
roughly
buddy. I'm pretty old. 15, 16-year-old, yes. And now it seems a theme that we're starting kids super young to think about going overseas, especially in Australia when it's not readily accessible.
Yeah,
Not like you,
it's a long runway,
yeah, you
right?
can, yeah, and you can't go to the college next door.
No.
You have to connect with a certain coach, connect with somebody, even an agency, to get yourself overseas, and that starts young. Because if it doesn't work the first year, well, then you only have, if you went at my age, you only have another year to figure it out and have these communications and show your video.
Not to derail you, but how do you feel about the AAU model versus Australia's model, which for people who don't know, it's like a club-based
Yeah,
system.
Australia is, yeah.
Yeah,
You're saying,
yeah,
yeah. I like the American system way better. I
yeah. Okay.
like the connection between school and sport. I like
Mhm.
and we have AAU throughout the year, or throughout the year now. But in my day and age, like a little bit ago, about 12 plus years ago,
Back when you had high school teams.
yeah,
Yeah.
when those mattered,
Yeah.
we would go AAU in the summers, and we'd only have a season of basketball, and then we have a season of something else.
Yeah.
And it really allowed you to love the game versus just do the game
Yeah.
all
Okay.
year round. There's no breaks, there's no missing it. You hear that about relationships sometimes, right? It's like if you see, yeah,
Yeah, what's the phrase? I don't
well,
remember.
it's like if you text and see each other all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
you never get a chance to miss them.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Is
That's
that
the
it?
phrase.
Is that the
Yeah,
phrase? Yeah. Sorry.
so yeah, exactly. And I think it allows growth as well as a human versus just as a sports human.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times that becomes that kid's worth.
Yeah, and also their identity and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
And it happened to me even without doing it all year.
Yeah.
So imagine what's happening to kids who are doing it all year. And I understand you have to do it all year here
Hmm.
because you're only getting 2 times a week with them.
Yeah.
So for them to grow as much as an American student would playing basketball, they're only getting like 2 practices in 1 week, and we're getting 6.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, that's 3 weeks of trainings that Australian has to do that Americans are getting in 1 week.
So you have specifically, I saw one of your little video things that you. So Erin has amazing social media. So at the end, we'll kind of go through it, and she can give all of her handles out. But you had one where you were like an American player signing up for Australian basketball, and you're like, oh, two? Yeah, no, I could do 2 a day. Oh, 2 a week?
Yes,
It was such a good
exactly.
video because it literally is like night and day the way it works here.
Well, it just shows you why it takes so much longer here for
Mm,
kids to develop, and then they burn out easier because it's just an all year dull lull. Like
yeah.
it's just like I don't even get a break, a week off, and then it's the next term of basketball. So I understand why they're doing it that way. There's so many kids here that can play. And what I really love about Australian basketball is because it gives me a job, is what you
Yeah.
can do.
So,
Like there's no college or
no.
anything after college in America.
Mm,
Here, you guys have these club-based sports that allow 30-year-olds like me to play for as long as they want to.
yeah, that's
Um,
true. And also, it seems to give really good pathways into further things. So like
yeah,
you can go into it now, but you do a fair amount of coaching and training.
exactly.
Yeah, so give us a rundown of what a week of yours looks like training wise and
Oh
coaching
my
wise.
gosh. Well, now I'll tell you what's going on now. So I've just recently moved to the Sunshine Coast,
Mhm.
and I've picked up 3 separate jobs. And the reason being is in the basketball world, unless you're a high level, unless you're orchestrating or organizing a whole club, there's not many hours you're working throughout the day. It's almost early morning, 6 to 8 a.m. or 3.
It's okay. We have
Oh,
somebody at the door. Keep going.
welcome. Welcome. Yeah, it's either early mornings or after school between that 3:30 5:30 area.
Mm,
So if you're going to get any money from basketball, you have to get multiple jobs. So right now
yeah.
I'm doing Caloundra, which is a club in Sunshine Coast under the Phoenix umbrella. So Phoenix is the rep.
Yep.
So essentially, if you don't know this stuff, representative means you are representing your area.
Yeah.
And then there's domestic club stuff under that. That's kind of more free flowing, but people take it seriously here, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Especially in Division Two.
Yes, Division 8, man.
The
People
most
get thrown out.
I literally saw the most intense game I've seen from like an under 10s team yesterday. It was so loud that I was sitting in the audience going like, what is going on?
Whoa,
The
whoa.
game ended 11-10. It was crazy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best part of
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
Though. I love that.
And we won't this is not what this podcast is about, but I could imagine it's also a little bit of a struggle because we still have the issue where women athletes get paid less than men athletes.
Yes,
So
yeah. And we can
yeah,
dive into
that's not a
that.
today issue,
Yeah,
but
it's a whole other
honestly,
podcast.
honestly, it is an issue.
It's
Like,
an issue, and I think I try to stay unbiased. I try to stay not so female oriented and business oriented in my thought process. But for us to get women the same opportunities that men have, it's the same things we did for the men's program, right?
yeah,
There's subsidies, there's sponsorships, there's way more that we could be doing for the women's program, but instead we're kind of just for instance, there is just a club, an NBL1 club. I don't want to name them, but one of the players told me that they no longer the whole team left, the whole girls team left, and I was asking her why, and she was like, "Well, they decided this year because the girls program has been so good, they're going to take half the girls' budget and move it towards the guys."
oof.
And what if that happened
Yeah.
the opposite way?
Well, the other kind of telltale sign is that you have men players in the NBL that's their job. They play
Yeah.
basketball. But even the higher end WNBL players are then on their off seasons, they're going to China, they're going to Europe. They're having to play a whole nother season in a whole different high level comp.
Because they're making money.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're seeing it, they're now going instead of WNBL.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
exactly.
kids
Yeah,
who,
we have one person very close to us that
Yeah.
plays in Europe.
In Europe.
So, yeah.
New Zealand, a new league. They
Mhm.
decided not to play in WNBL and play New Zealand for more money. And of course you would.
Yeah.
Men do this all the time, and you can't judge them for that.
No.
But then I think it's what they're asking of women.
Mm.
They're asking for the same level of commitment that these guys who Xavier Cook's making $1.2 million for a season,
Yeah.
for a 30-game season.
Yeah.
Right? Not a 76 like the NBA
Mhm.
or more. I don't
Yeah.
know the exact 72, maybe.
82.
82, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wasn't too far off.
No, you're pretty close. You're pretty close. It depends. We're talking about how many games like stars play. It's more like 52.
Yeah.
56.
They're out half the season.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they fake an Achilles injury, they
Mhm.
go.
It's just load management.
Load management.
Yeah.
That's what they always say. It's always when I go watch the game
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. It's a crapshoot now.
Yeah.
Is LeBron going to be playing today? Probably not.
Probably not.
No,
Well,
probably not.
he heard I was coming. I
Yeah.
knew it.
But you'll get to see Bronny play, and you'll be like, oh,
Wow.
yeah.
He's the size of LeBron's left leg, but okay, whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of move into
Why we're
Why we're
here. Yeah.
which is
I
actually
love talking basketball though.
yeah.
so
No,
sorry.
I the same.
Sorry.
So it's something. So I guess all 7 people who watch my podcast will actually
It's gonna
have,
grow. It's gonna grow.
Gonna
to
grow.
8. My mom will follow you.
Yeah. Everybody's like, just be consistent. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll be consistent.
What
Yeah.
happened with my page?
Yeah, it's been amazing,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I consistently posted
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah,
Consistently posted every day, and now have a bunch of new followers.
yeah.
That's what I gotta do.
It's good content too. Like you actually put in time to make stuff that's fun to watch or important to watch.
Oh, thanks.
Like even everything down to the graphics and the writing that you use, like to edit over it, it's clear, it makes sense, it's not overkill.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank
It's
you.
honestly very good.
Yeah.
All right.
I paid him $20 to say that. Thank you.
She did not. She did not pay. And that definitely is not taxable.
Oh,
Yeah.
hobby.
No,
Hobby pay.
hobby pay. All right. So, with your experience in basketball and teaching basketball, now you played for the North Brisbane team last season.
Mhm.
What was the award you got at the end of the season from the team?
From the team.
Yeah,
From the team or from NBL1?
from the team. What was it?
Coach's award.
The coach award, and what
yeah.
was from the NBL?
NBL1 Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
So obviously, it means something to you. So what I'm going to ask you is, I feel as an observer that specifically the pathways leading up through basketball, whether it's in America or here, they're not making defense the priority, right? They're like, all right, let's find different ways to score the ball. With you and your coaching and stuff, how do you kind of balance out that? Or am I wrong? Is it defense is being taught and I'm just not seeing it?
No, you're completely right. You're completely right. And the reason being is I think this is an Australian thing, is when you have 2 practices a week with these people, they have to, for some reason, coaches think plays are the most important. So I've been a part of teams where we run through our plays, but we don't break down any defensive structure, any intricate little things us all being on the same page, and then it bites us in the butt later on in our season.
I've seen that. I've seen a club team have 3 inbounding plays, but then they don't know how to play defense.
No, no, play defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing, I mean, if you keep them to 0 and you score 1 point, you win the game.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Hopefully that doesn't happen because I don't want to watch those games, but I think it's the most important thing on the floor, but doesn't mean everything else isn't important. I just had a recent video talking about that where don't like defense should be number one what you're doing, but then a lot of parents are like, why does my kid not play? She's the best defensive player on the team, and it's like, well, if that's the only thing she's doing, then and she's not can't score a layup, well,
and she's short. Are we?
Yeah,
we're not talking about Izzy though.
Yeah, we're not. It's not Izzy. Izzy plays defense and can make a layup.
Izzy's just
She's left. Thank God. Now we can talk about her. No, I just think, and this is the second time winning the Defensive Player of the Year award, and I only have those awards. I think is because I care about it.
Yeah, and it shows when you're on the court. Like it's a full effort thing. What are some of the things from your experience in growing up that actually, because I would say you're a two-way player. Like I would not say that it's an only defense thing, because if I gave you the ball, you're going to give me a bucket too.
Yeah.
So what molded you into that? Like what experience when you were younger was like, oh, I actually need to care about that?
Well, I got put at the top of a zone, so 1-2-2 zone in high school with a coach. And he told me my main focus is to get as many deflections and tips at the top of this zone. So as they're coming down the floor, when they're passing around, I'm trying to get as many tips as possible. And before that, I probably didn't even think about defense.
Yeah.
And then that put me in a headspace of anticipating passes and trying, just because one coach told me, hey, this is your focus, what you're going to be in charge of. And so then I started deflecting passes and reading passes a little bit better. And then I jump away and miss one. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to go for those kind, and slowly edited and put kind of a mindset in my head of defense oriented. Same thing. Like I use my offense to teach me defense. So what doesn't work against me and what works against me. So if I was trying to drive on somebody, if they're flat and their hands are forward and out, it's hard to go against.
Yeah.
So then I use that on defense. So this coach probably put this mindset of, let me work on my defense. And then from there, the curiosity, the be curious, not judgmental. It's like once you make decisions on things.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, always mentioning. But once I kind of started being curious about defense, that's when it just grew. And I failed so much.
Which is how you learn.
Yes.
Right? So
you have to, or you get beat. Someone moving this way versus someone playing defense this way, you're probably going to get beat. But my biggest thing, and I teach the kids that I'm training, is once you get beat, what are you going to do?
So the thing I liked about all of that,
yeah,
which I think is why you have been so successful and why you're actually such a good teacher for the kids as well, is was
a compliment sesh. I love it. I'll come on anytime.
Perfect. I love that too. So it's so often that people try something and it fails and they go, all right, well, that was a failure. I'm never trying that ever again, right? That ability to go, all right, that didn't work, or this part of it worked. And then, and I can see you do that with your social medias too. Like you'll make videos and you'll be like, this video did really good. So we're going to do another one like that. Like your videos where you're doing the free throws and you're just at different rims or whatever. Like you just keep building on that. And that curiosity is, I think that's the key for kids in particular. Like it's not just about, all right, I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's like, okay, what can I do to mix it up? But they have to want to learn and kind of teach themselves as well, too.
And I think men actually do a really good job of this. And I talk about this all the time, that men go in and they train by themselves. And I think that's what they're doing, is they're learning different ways of not to do it. Ben Franklin, electricity, different ways. Well, if I go this way, left-handed, but the defense is on this side, well, that's not going to work because I keep stealing it from me here. So I'm just going to put it in my right hand. Now, ladies who don't go in the gym and do extra or go to the court and do extra, they have to be taught those things. And that's what my thing is, adapting as a coach. It's like, I can't get mad at all these girls who aren't going in. That means when they're in with me, what do they need to learn so that they can be more successful than the girls around them? Not even like I want them to go do the things and be aggressive and all this stuff. But at the same time, what are things that girls their age aren't doing? And what can I teach them now that they can build on their own?
Yeah, beautiful. Now for yourself as a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, so what is all right, so obviously there's a certain amount of physical skill that's involved, but I would imagine that there's a certain amount of mindset
Yeah.
that when you're going into a game and you're like, all right, I'm defending so and so, what's that like? Like, what do you have to do to actually be present and focused to put that much effort?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if there's a like the last couple seasons I've seen, and like I'm sure you've had growing up, is there's also a lot of responsibility you're carrying on the offensive side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you say get your brain going to where like when all right, is it like music or what do you do? Like just talking to yourself?
I prepare myself as much as I can. So I know that nervousness is caused by lack of preparation. So when I'm super nervous before games, it's probably because I didn't train hard enough or work on the things I should have throughout the week. So same exact thing with the defensive kind of matchup is if I prepare myself to the best of my ability on the person that I've matched up with this week, then there's nothing to be worried about.
Right.
And I know I've got this. I know that this girl likes to go right, so I'm going to push her left. And if she goes left, she's probably going to pull up for a shot. And and she's right-handed. I'm left-handed. So when I block, it's going to be on the correct side of the block. So all those little intricate things, just like talking about the curiosity thing, I've learned over time that if I give them a little bit of space, if they're a shooter, as soon as I see them collect their hands, this is secret stuff. I haven't told anybody this. As soon as
You're heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't show this part. This is subscribe only, okay?
It's on my OnlyFans.
Yeah, my OnlyFans.
Sorry,
I don't have that. That's his.
It's fine. It's fine.
Feet finder.
Only feet. Only
Yeah,
feet
only
pics.
feet.
Yeah.
But if I know he's a shooter and they're looking to shoot, I'm just waiting for the collection of the hands. And as soon as I see this, because girls don't have as fast as a shot as guys do, and I play against guys all the time. As soon as I see this, I close in the gap and try to just time everything correctly. And again, I fail sometimes.
Everybody fails.
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had girls, and I tell people the girls that are hard to guard, like Morgan Yeager was very difficult to guard. She has shifty moves. Shiftiness is going to get anybody. That's why girls that are shifty are going to make it, I think.
Yeah.
Or really elite fast shooters, hard to guard. But that's why you want them on your team.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say I prepare myself as much as I can with what my matchup is, and then trust in the preparation.
Nice. And I think kind of going back to that, you learn from defense and what works for you.
Yeah.
You have a very fast shot, if
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And is that because you found that that's something that you can stop on defense?
Well, and I had a friend. Sorry, I have so many stories. I have a friend.
That's what we're here for.
podcast
It's
they're
literally 4 stories. Yeah.
And he was a pistol shooter. And this is recent. So I wish I would have opened my mind like this 15 years ago. But I just didn't know. So I give myself grace. But just in the last 3 years, I learned how to shoot quicker because a pistol shooter, like he was a national award-winning pistol shooter of quickness. So it's just like those people that just go pop, 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 and then put their gun back. And he said he believes that shooting form or the shot form of a shot should be that kind of same concept. How can I shave seconds off my shot form? And I work with the girls. I train with that as well. It's like you catching the ball, dipping down into your shot is an extra second for the defense to close out on you. So you need to be able to be prepared first. So my legs are ready, everything's ready as I catch. And then if your hands are low and the ball's coming, now I've got to catch it, adjust my hands, then figure it out and go through my shot. And then the same exact thing. It's like I believe all in one motion on the way up.
Yeah.
So if I go like up, wait, down, another second. So him telling me that made me curious. I was like, okay, how can I make my shot as fast as possible so defense can't get to me? And I have it. Yeah.
It sounds like from a mechanical point of view as well, that speed going into your shot would actually correlate into strength of the shot as well.
Yeah.
For distance and things like that. So
you also don't think about it.
Yeah, it just happens.
When your shot's fast, it's like when people struggle to shoot wide open shots versus ones with contestants.
So they're like free throws are the hardest shot there is.
Yeah, I
think.
Yeah. And I like free throws. I used to be terrible at. And then again, mindset changes, preparation, working on stuff. Now it's a consistent shot. So it's all the work you put in. It's all the prep. And then you end up being the player you want to be.
So we've kind of, I'm going to just go and
remember cybersecurity.
Yeah, well, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way it works is all of this stuff is just wonderful information. And
Yep.
then over time, as I kind of like go through and those things will get touched on because it's just more of a like we're going to talk about perimeter defense now.
Yeah.
And from my side with security, it's very much the same. So if we
Mm.
just kind of do like a large overview of the top, you think of like, all right, you have cameras, you have like motion sensors, you have access control on the
Yeah.
doors. All of those things are like roles on the court, right? So the person that we have that's kind of locked down defender, we have an access control door with a strike. You can only get in if you have the credentials to get in. This person's going to keep you out otherwise.
Mm.
Then for cameras, we have similar things to what we think of as like help defense. So we have people that are watching, that are making sure that things are happening and
Yep.
can report that and talk to the rest of the team to let them know what's going on. And then if you think of like your rim protectors are very much like your 24/7 monitoring, right? They're that line of like they should be loud, they should be letting everybody know what's going on, and it's required for the whole system to work, right? You can't just have 5 perimeter defenders and be like, "Oh, we're going to win the game,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I broke it down for you guys. That's it. That's
That
all
was beautiful.
So let's go ahead and start with the perimeter defense.
Okay.
I'm literally reading as I talk to you. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
I have the question written down.
Okay.
So when we're talking about usually, because you're usually a 1-2,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
I could imagine in NBL1 sometimes they may put you at the 3 because everything's a little bit smaller
Smaller.
than America.
Well, in college, I was a 4-5. I was a
Okay.
rim protector. Well,
Izzy
don't laugh. Don't laugh. over
Well,
that.
Izzy also gets stuck in that position.
What? Stop it. Get outside. Yeah, I was a 4-5, but had to adjust to a 1-2.
Yeah. So that's actually a fairly big adjustment, but that kind of works. So
Yeah.
in that adjustment, going from the 4-5 to the 1-2, and this is we've talked a little bit about this already, but that preparation to be the point of attack defender, like what does that look like? What is an actual okay, so everybody's always saying, oh, the scouting report this, scouting report that. What actually is a scouting report? Like what do you get?
What
Like
is on there?
I know I've seen an NBA one before,
Yeah.
and it's like a folder of things, but for
It's a novel.
is it the same for you guys as well?
Well, and this helps my background in the G League because I was in charge of creating our scouting reports for the team.
Oh, nice.
And because I was new coach's associate, which is basically the assistant to the manager,
Assistant to
the
the
coaches.
assistant regional
Yeah.
manager. Yep.
What coffee would you like? I was put in charge a couple times because that's what they're supposed to kind of make us ready for the next level. In charge of getting the teams ready, talking in front of them, and I was so nervous at the time. I think I was like 24. I was, shaking my boots around these, high level NBA players. Jonathan Kuminga, he now is playing. Moses Moody now playing actual minutes.
For the record, I love Moses Moody.
Isn't he the best?
He is absolutely fantastic.
He was the quietest person.
It still seems that way.
Yeah.
Like not to get derailed, but I love Moses
Yeah,
Moody.
and he just goes and does his thing.
And he's starting now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just
And it's crazy to know so long ago I was watching him in the G League.
Yeah.
And he was on our team and I was, grabbing his laundry and putting it anyway. So I learned kind of what's the best things to put on there. It's very consistent. It's interestingly consistent of everything that we work on in practices, reiterated in the scouting report as our main topic. So you start off with a bunch of kind of offensive focuses, defensive focuses, and then our themes for the thing, and a lot of times it doesn't really change.
All right, without giving too much away, I'm getting a scouting report on you.
Mm-hmm.
What is it telling me?
Left-handed. And the same thing, people don't even understand I go right, but
yeah,
they'll always put left-handed and they'll always force me left. So I know they're saying she's left-handed. I would say that they should put that I'm a great shooter because I was about 39% by the end of the season. I think 42, and then
are we saying
39?
The 3?
The 3.
Because a little known fact, you're a very good pull-up shooter.
Yeah.
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 You're one of the few people that is still like, I'm going to take a 1-2 dribble and do a pull-up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I believe in tri-level scoring.
Yeah.
So if you, and this is a big no-no in NBA, but if you only shoot layups and threes, it's an EFG thing. I don't know if you've heard efficiency of field goal.
100%.
Percentages of even if you shot that mid-range, shooting a 3 would be more points at the end of the day.
As a Warriors fan, we dealt with the Rockets. So we know all about the Morey like money ball.
The like all stat math based stuff where I think you can't just rely on that kind of mindset.
Well, you had so you recently had a video come out in my little just getting ready to talk to you.
Okay,
To
so
stalk you. Shut up. But you had one where you're like, people don't always like this, but here's what I like to do, and here's why. And you're like a one dribble pull up from the left wing, right? You
yeah,
went into the
yeah,
corner there. Um, I think it's excellent because it's from a spectator point of view. It variety is actually really good. Like I don't need it to be I don't hate threes. I love threes. I'm a
yeah,
Warriors fan, right?
yeah.
Like I'll
You
watch
have
Steph
to.
Curry shoot 4,000 threes again,
Yeah,
right? But yeah, he's already done
yeah.
it.
You've already done it.
I was actually thinking about that. I don't think I've made 4,000 threes in my life.
And
Like, and he
he's
did it
just done
in
it.
NBA games.
Yeah,
But like that, but I like the idea of, all right, so this time down the court,
Mm,
sure, let's dribble in, kick out, shoot a three. Let's next time, let's go and let's do an ISO. Let's get to the one dribble pull up, come in. Let's see the
yeah.
next one. I love the variety of it. It doesn't need to be the same all
And
the time.
and in women's sport, we can't just go dunk the ball. So I
Mm.
think that gets taken out of consideration when we're saying just threes and layups.
Yeah.
It's like if I dump it down to this girl, a lot of times they just stay exactly where they're at.
Mm.
They don't even come in for a layup.
No.
When in the G League, you dump it down, they're catching it into a dunk.
Yeah.
So I completely understand where you would want that instead of like a little midi pull up that we women do.
Hmm.
But you kind of have to start realizing we're not as athletic.
Yeah. From an excitement point of view, I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the thing you always hear from spectators is that the women's game tends to be more strategically appealing.
well, it has to be
Yeah.
in
So
the nicest way. It has to be because
yeah.
we can't just jump up and dunk over people.
Is
I want
there
to.
is there a world? Is there a spot for like alley oops in women's? I mean, it doesn't have to be a dunk, but I never see it.
I've thrown one alley. It
Uh,
was in my highlight reel because
you
you have to.
have to.
And the girl on my team could grab the rim.
Okay,
And so I threw it up in our last game of finals and threw it up and she dipped it in.
nice.
It wasn't a dunk or
But
anything, but
it's still a thing.
yeah.
I like that. I like the variety.
Yeah, and I think that's where I try to be so good in different facets. So when my scouting report is being, they're kind of like, crap.
Yeah.
I mean, she can do it all. Like she can go get a layup, she can go pull up. She's a really good passer. And I say this to kids as well, is like, if you want to score the ball, become a good passer.
Yeah.
Because then your defense, and I learned this. It's like when I'm playing someone who can pass and drive and shoot threes, I'm like, what am I gonna do? And that's why I'm like, okay, I need to be that way.
Yeah.
So, because I used to not shoot any threes. In high school, I made one three accidentally.
Okay, it was at the end of a buzzer beater.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it was more, yeah, I think I turned and I thought I was at the mid range and I shot it and made it. And I even looked at my dad. I was like,
And he's like,
oh
act
my
like
God.
you've been there before.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God. He's like, chill out.
It's like, do this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, do the gritty. That wasn't the gritty wasn't a
Didn't
thing, and
exist
then
back then. No.
do the hammer time. That's it. No, and that's what I would say is I wanted to add that to my game
Mm.
to become harder to guard.
Yeah.
So that's my scouting report would be like left-handed, wants to shoot, but better driver, and then yeah, like pull up and maybe Fowler. I mean, but I'm good at the free throw line.
Yeah.
That's what's hard, right? But if I was a guard, like I would see if she's going right-handed, she's probably gonna pull up. If she's
Mm.
going left-handed, she's probably gonna go for the layup. If she's on her left side, like that's what scouting reports are, is kind of intricately placing what we could do to stop this person.
Okay.
And then there's different ideas, right? So you have a team that has two really good players who usually score 30 and 20. So you can either decide we're going to try to limit their points
Hmm.
and win the game, or we're going to let them be
And take away everything else.
everything else.
Yeah.
Make it where it is, put your second best defender on them, but make the best defenders be off ball.
Yeah.
And when they do decide to pass it, that person doesn't score.
Well, and that was always the Warriors versus LeBron, right?
Right.
LeBron's going to get 40, 50 points. LeBron's going to get 40,
Yeah.
50 points. We take away everything else.
Yeah, do our best.
They do the same with Luca, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, back when he was on a team by himself.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's just cheating,
Yeah.
I think.
So in a lot of kids' sports and lower levels, they obviously don't get scouting reports.
Right.
You're teaching. I'm a little kid. You're teaching me defense. What are like the key things that I need to know? Like, how do I know to be a good defender?
Well, number one, and this is my base, is don't quit.
Hmm.
I see most, I think, women's Australian players who will wall up and just stop guarding after they've been driven
Blown
past
past. Yeah.
because they think they've already either done their job or that's all they can do. And in my opinion, if someone's barreling down chasing me after I did beat them, a little scarier to make my layup than if I was just by myself. So that's number one, don't quit. Number two, I would say like don't. We teach this wrong. Don't be super tight on the offensive player. Because if I'm playing offense and someone's tight on me, I'm like, oh, bet.
You're going to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have enough moves, enough spins, things I can do, jab steps that's going to get you off of me. And maybe less skilled players, it's easier to be that, but I'd rather teach the right way, which is just hands out. So I was in college and we learned sliding like this. And then I came back and was a practice player. And all of a sudden my coach, same coach, was teaching this instead of this. And I was like, why are you teaching that? And I remember this conversation. She's like, think about it. If I'm out here, you still are open for a shot because I still have to do this to contest it. But if you're here, this person's just going to think you're right on them, but you really aren't. You have all this space. And then their first dribble is you're going to be able to slide right into where they're going. And I just took that and ran with it.
Are you a defensive slide or a bounce person?
What do you mean bounce?
All right, so
here we go. Are you telling me something about basketball I don't know?
Oh, I don't know. So obviously there's the defensive slide where you lead with you slide with your lead foot and you kind of bring it in.
Yeah.
I had so a long time ago, I had somebody like a coach that was telling me that for girls, he teaches the bounce. So instead of it being defensive slides where it's like robotic, he just wants them to be bouncy and kind of hop and move quickly and loosely. Right.
I like that.
So yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So
write that down.
So it's something that like you'll see when we're talking to Izzy, we'll like be bouncy on defense. We want her to be kind of like on her toes and like be loose and moving. Because then a lot of times, like you're pointing out, the thing that drives me nuts with what you're saying is like not you driving nuts, but when I feel is like defensive transition. Somebody's dribbling the ball up the court and one girl's in front of them and they go like this and they go around and they just kind of like turn and watch them go around. And I'm just like, oh God.
I've never experienced it until I got to Australia. I was like, what is that? Just contain.
Well, I do notice this and there's nothing wrong. I think it's just different. Australia players are very mechanically, like it's almost like watching mechanics.
Yeah.
They're not, when you watch American players, and I'm just trying to say this without any offense to Australian players, because there's a place for each of them, but American players are very loose. Like they flow, like their bodies are an instrument, right? Where with Australians, it's very like precise. Like,
yes.
And then, that's something that I've noted. That's different.
And it might be a mindset here. I see a lot of coaches say they're not ready for that yet.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't believe that in anything.
Well, in like when we're taught, when we're young, we're just like, just go play as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Like go so fast that you're screwing up because your body will catch up to you.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
A lot of figuring it out. And I think we don't let women do that a lot, figure it out. And sometimes the guys, like we don't let them figure it out. And it's the guys that go and play extra that figure it out because they just are playing, learning by playing. But I would say, we're back to the defense we were talking about.
Yeah.
I love the tangents.
It's okay. We got time.
So don't quit spacing and then just be the aggressor.
Yeah. All right.
That's number one. So
dictate what the offense can do. Don't let them dictate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're meaning?
Absolutely. And I see this as well is we're very nice people. Like the girls I play with are so nice.
Yeah.
But I do wish they had a flip where once you get on the court, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear your hair or your head off. And what I see a lot of times is they'll be off ball. Somebody will cut through the lane. And we practice this. You're supposed to hit that.
Yeah, you bump them. Yeah.
They're coming through, and our coaches be like, I want it to be like a ping pong, like ping pong, like coming through.
Yeah.
And they're too nice here where they kind of give whatever they want instead of, no, you're going to have to take it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd say it's just like, if someone's cutting through, just hit them real quick. If someone's rolling, instead of worrying about your person in the corner so much, just tag that roller real quick, make it uncomfortable. Or if you're going over a screen, don't think, I don't really want to foul. Just get in there.
Yeah.
Because they're not really calling those.
No.
So,
I was going to say with that tagging the cutter, they're never calling it.
They're never, ever
calling it. You could
calling
literally murder the girl.
No,
she'll be there bleeding, and she'll
yeah,
be like, "I didn't see anything. I was watching the ball. The refs watched the
they
ball
watch
here."
the ball. All
Yeah,
three of them.
all three of
The
them.
three of them out
Yeah,
there. All three are watching, and even boxing out. I put one up
yeah.
about boxing out today. I teach to put a forearm into
Hmm.
somebody, and I had someone say, "Isn't that a foul?" I'm like, they're not going to call that
Yeah.
foul. I mean, there's so many fouls going around. There's
Hmm.
so many times they're hitting each other that this right here, it's just legal playing field. It's just putting your guard up instead of what they teach is just
Yeah.
put your butt
And
into
try to like hold them back like it's
without
a
looking
goal
at
ball.
them. You know?
How do you feel about like bump and go on rebounding? So
Yeah,
specifically like a perimeter player where you actually like tag them,
and
like
go. Yeah,
physically tag them, and then you go for the rebound.
I think that's the best way to guard a 3-point
Hmm.
person. Like, especially if they don't really chase their shots or they're so far away from the play, it's not going to matter if they crash the boards or not.
Yep.
I just call it like check.
Yeah. There you go.
And I sometimes miss a box out, but what I do real quick is once I see the shot goes up, if I'm in help and I'm not anywhere close to my person, I'm just gonna look real quick, just a real quick look. If I see them heading towards me,
Hmm.
then this isn't my rebound.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that person from getting the rebound.
I like
If
that a
that
lot,
makes any,
actually.
yeah.
No, that makes a lot of
That's
sense.
what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. It's like, well, it's not going to be me. If it bounces my way, it's going to hit me in the back
Yeah.
because I'm just going to keep this person who's in full sprint because they're going to get the rebound if
Hmm.
I don't box them out.
Yeah.
And then secondly, if I do the check, then I'm the one getting the rebound because
Hmm.
if my person's still out there,
Yeah, if they're back in towards
yeah,
playing
yeah, if
defense,
they're
yeah.
getting back, then I'm going to be the one that gets the loose kind
Hmm.
of as everyone else box out. I'll be the one jumping through.
Yeah. I always think of it like free safety in
Yeah,
football. So yeah.
free. We'll explain that. Sorry.
Oh, do I need to explain?
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you get it?
Free safety.
Yeah.
Well, I know it. Well,
All
a
right. So
safety play
so
doesn't go
in
like that, right?
no, no, in the NFL, so gridiron, they call NFL gridiron here.
I know what you say when you say NFL.
Yeah,
I
okay.
get it because
All
you're
right.
American.
So your cornerbacks in the backfield. So you have, if you're going for a pass, you have your wide receivers going out. You have two cornerbacks that cover your wide receivers. You normally have a strong safety and a free safety. The strong safety has roles and responsibility. The free safety is kind of like a roamer. Think of like Draymond Green on
Yeah,
defense, where he's
love
just
him.
kind of like everywhere.
Hmm.
Like that's their job, to be just where,
Free
yeah, where they don't need,
and
yeah,
safe.
exactly. Yeah. Thank you. So, but much like you're saying, your players going back on defense because they're not going for the
Yeah,
rebound and they're doing the right thing. They're actually heading back for defensive
yeah.
transition. You're the person. If everybody else is boxing out, somebody needs to get the ball.
Well, and we had a point guard that was like 5'3" on our college team, and she was averaging 6 rebounds a game, and everyone was so surprised. And I'm like, okay, they're teaching the point guard on the other team to get back on defense
Hmm.
first. Everybody else is boxing out. Who who is
Who's going
open?
to get the
Who's
rebound?
the free
Yeah,
safety?
yeah, exactly.
It's our point guard. And so everybody was like flabbergasted. Oh my God, 6 rebounds, 5'3" girl. I'm like, well, we're doing the work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
here
Well,
you go.
so they always talk about Brooke Lopez that way in the NBA,
Yeah.
is because he'd have seasons where he did not rebound very well,
Mhm.
but he was boxing out the other team's rebounder. Like that was his
Dude.
job. He just boxed to the other team. Giannis would get a million rebounds. Brooke
Yeah.
Lopez wouldn't, but he was just as important as Giannis was getting his
And
rebounds.
and you could probably talk about this in cybersecurity. It's the things that aren't statted sometimes that you need teams for. Like there's probably things that the consumer doesn't see
Hmm.
that you guys are doing in the back end that are so important that won't show up on the stat sheet. You'll just feel the safety and what the
Yeah.
result is.
No, it's 100% true with both electronic and digital security. Like it, in the most case, if it's something to where you don't know it's there, you never realize it, it means we're doing our job,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So yeah,
Exactly.
that's the way it works.
Did you like that
That was a
analogy?
very
I
good
did that.
tie-in.
Yeah.
That was
Thank
excellent.
you. Thank you.
Um,
If you don't zoom in and make a sound effect when we high
yeah,
fived, I'm not watching this ever
I
again.
want it to be like if when we do it, maybe I'll try to get it to be like our hair goes like Dragon Ball Z, like Super Saiyan. Yeah.
Please do.
Um, on perimeter defense.
Mm.
All right, so you're the point of attack defense. What actions are actually giving you the most trouble?
Um, yeah, I would say unpredictability. Like if you're doing the same thing over and over,
Mm-hmm.
I can read that.
All right.
I would say by the second time, if you try to do it again, I probably will know what you're trying to do.
Okay.
And again, I'm super prepared already, knowing what your game looks like. So it's the unpredictability that I'm like, if they hit a move and they hit me with a counter, it's
Mhm.
like, oh shoot, that's out of nowhere, or heads eating and all that stuff.
What's your preferred defense on a pick and roll?
Well, I'm lazy.
So does that mean like you're going under?
Going under. We're going under. Well, I have this theory that, and this is gonna bite me in the butt. A lot of NBL1 girls can't hit threes, deep threes.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Especially
would say,
pull up deep threes.
yeah, off the dribble,
Yeah.
coming from the side. So when people are like, let's go over and drops, I'm
Yeah.
like, for what? To give them a layup? Like, to make it hard
To
for
make
me?
it a 2-on-1 on the
Yeah,
backhand.
yeah, because I'm not getting around this screen. You see how long I am? Sorry. So I believe in a jam and under.
Okay.
So you essentially jam the post player into the person trying to dribble.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're doing that, she now has to take a wider turn
Gotcha.
around.
Who's jamming the post? You're jamming the post, or is a big coming up and
The
jamming?
big that's guarding the post player. So the post player is coming over to screen.
Yep.
The big guarding that post is sinking her arms or sinking her leg to push her as far as she can outside the 3-point line so that the guard comes wider.
Yep.
And if she decides to pull up behind the three, it's too deep.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. It's
So
Steph Curry range at that point. Yeah.
And if they could shoot that, they wouldn't be playing NBL1. They'd be NBA.
Yeah.
So that's where my
Well, maybe they have to play NBL1 because they don't make enough money from the WNBA.
go back to that conversation. No, and so that's my favorite. So then I sneak under and then force them back into the screen, if that makes any sense.
That does make
into
sense.
the chaos.
That makes 100%
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
That's my favorite.
All right. My last one on this topic. All right. Shooter. So your shooter goes for a pull-up. You're contesting the 3-point shot. Are you boxing out or are you sprinting down court?
It matters. It matters.
Depends.
Depends. And here's what it depends. I'm telling all my secrets.
Do you want to not tell the secrets?
No, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I don't care. So it depends on who it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It depends on if this is a shooter,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to go get their own O board.
Right.
Because they've been taught, like me,
To start backpedaling.
well, to commit to the shot.
Yep.
Not to shoot it and run.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have deemed you in my head a shooter, then I'm going to run through.
Okay.
And my coach, well, last year, he didn't like that I did that. But I try to explain why, and most times it worked out for us. So,
Yeah.
And sometimes it bites you. Sometimes they hit the back rim and it goes straight back to the shooter, and they get a
And
2
then
for
you're
1.
like running backwards.
Like,
Yeah.
my fault. But that's my kind of thought process. So if they're a non-shooter and more willing to chase their shot, as soon as they land, I'm doing that protection. Like,
Yeah.
you're not getting the rebound because most likely they knew they missed it. So this is about to be a miss that my post players can get.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make sure she doesn't get it. She's probably way better at O-boarding than she is at shooting.
Yeah.
So that's what my thought process
No, that
is.
makes sense. That does make sense. It's something that I always think about because I'm like obviously I don't play basketball. Like there was a
What?
time back when I could shoot if somebody I could
Yeah.
I'll stand there and if you pass me the ball I'll shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But that's it.
We don't know if it's going in.
No. No,
Shoot it.
I was mostly air balls.
I was
But
passing back.
but like I'm a huge basketball nerd, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm like I try to learn as much as I can. I love watching basketball, but and like I see these things and there's always with everything, you'll get like two different philosophies on like certain things. So
Yeah.
like I remember reading something a while back and it was a South Australia like state team, like
Yeah.
like their highest state team, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just tell everybody to rebound like all the time. That's just 5 to the boards
Yeah.
every single time." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what happens if, the other team gets the ball?"
Yeah.
And they're like, and he was saying that it was a situation where they did the math, and the math is they're better off getting the rebounds.
Yeah. And
So,
putting back in.
Yeah, and I think that's probably personnel dependent as well too.
Like if you have tall, long girls
Yeah.
or guys on your team, and then there's the new tagging up.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this way of boxing out? So if you're on offense, instead of trying to go get to the rim,
Uh-huh.
you're on the back side of these people. So if you're
So you're pushing them in to get a long
to get
rebound,
long rebounds,
which as 3 points become more and more common.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
yeah. So then, and I think there's some percentage of most of these kind of misses, 3-point misses, are long rebounds.
Mm.
Like not a lot of soft shots. Soft rebounds come from 3-point misses.
Yeah.
Most times it's like those hard off the backboard, off the side.
Yeah. Well, there was some report. This was a couple years back about Trey and Dame, and about how the bulk of their long range shots that they missed became offensive rebounds because of how hard it was.
Yeah, how long
Yeah.
away it's hitting in the. I mean, do you remember the video of my face getting hit and
Yeah.
how far the ball
I
went from
just
my
saw that just
face?
before this. Maybe we'll splice that in right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. God. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video that we just showed. And that's it. Like that's. I think it's starting to. Now that everyone knows the best way of playing basketball, you got to find your little edges.
Yeah.
Find your little point of difference, and that's it. Like the tagging, we try to do it as a team, and it actually works.
Oh
It
yeah.
does work when all five are on the same page.
Hmm.
And it's just a different way of doing it.
Well, not that. Even at the NBL1 level, I still see people, women probably more than the men,
Mhm.
but where they're like, okay, I'm going for a rebound, and they literally stand under the basket, and like, I don't understand the why.
That- I, I'm as baffled as you.
Okay, cool.
I haven't seen this much, so I need to stop that. Or the best rebounders, so Michaela Ruth,
Hmm.
who averaged 27 rebounds a game,
Hmm.
or had 27. She averaged some crazy amount last year. When I was watching her film, she just prepared to get a rebound, even when the ball was still
Yeah,
getting passed
yeah.
on the other side.
She was doing the work early, as
Yeah,
I say. Yeah.
especially when one of her teammates, she knew probably that was going to go try to score.
Hmm.
She was already just, prepared. I'm going to get into a position as soon as it comes soft off the rim. I'm going to get it
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
up.
And I bet you like, see, that's good. That's how the whole, did you watch Last Dance thing?
Yeah, yeah,
And they were like, Rodman was talking about how like he's like, oh, I know if this person's here and they're shooting it from there, the rebound's
yeah,
most likely going to be here. So like it's a whole different part of the game that people, I don't think, like, I guess as you get deeper and deeper, people think about that more.
yeah.
But especially in like the coming up, like even to youth league, I doubt they probably go that deep into it.
No, and that's what I think when we go back to Australian way of playing. Team chemistry is hard for them to learn because they're not with these people every
Constantly.
day
Yeah.
like we are in season. So, and we also are with them most of our high school because we're going to school with these people. So the same people have
Yeah.
like, known since seventh grade, all playing the same sport at the same time, getting better.
Hmm.
So we learn how each player moves, and you see it in NBA. One of LeBron James's best passes ever was over his head like this. And
Yeah.
I talk about this all the time. But he's gotten a steal. He's going down. He sees at the half court line. You can see him just do this real quick, just real
Knows
quick.
who's behind him. Yep.
And he knew it was his shooter. Wasn't anybody who would ever get a layup, a shooter. So now he gets to create this amazing, cool pass. He gets to even think about it for the next 4 seconds. How cool is my pass going to be to this guy in the corner? Because when you start learning each other and knowing where each other are going to be, it's much easier to do something cool with it.
Yeah. So for me growing up, like I did a lot of music and stuff growing up, and it was similar with bands, right? You want it to be where something happens, you break a string on a guitar, something like that. Everybody within the band knew how to adjust to cover that up, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is true. Like chemistry is like, I know it's like a very like culture and chemistry is like words that don't really like you can't like go, oh, here's the number of your
Yeah.
chemistry level,
Yeah.
but they are real things.
And it's almost more important than the stats.
Yeah, I would agree with that too, actually. Yeah.
And that's what I love is that you can't stat this stuff and you can work on it and you can come together as a group and figure it out. It's my favorite part about basketball. It's like, but stats used to be the most important thing to me. And then as I learn more about it, I'm like, oh, this is the cool stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff when even off the court. What can we do to better our team together, make us more together so we do well on the floor together?
Well, if you think of the stats or the results, all that other stuff's the journey, right? So that's when
It's
you
what's the saying? It's not the destination,
but the journey they get there.
and then now it's like it's not even the journey.
It's the people
company.
yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah,
Company.
it's the people you made the journey with.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I like having a Samwise Gamgee with me and things like that's a Lord of the Rings joke. I don't think you have it. Yeah, fine.
Oh, is that? Wait a second.
So on the team side,
Okay.
all right. So let's kind of move off the ball. So now we're in help defense.
Yeah.
Kind of. I want to know about what actually goes into what is your role? Like on help defense, you have somebody else guarding the ball. Obviously, everybody hears, all right, you got to see the man, you got to see the ball, right? That's what I'm doing. But I imagine there's a lot more that goes into that to make the team side of that defense work.
Oof. Yeah. Well, communication, number one. and you're basically a bunch of puppets on a string moving where you should be moving and try not to run into each other and be in the best position to help the person guarding the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's the main focus, person on ball, because the ball is a thing that scores in this game, right? So that's why sometimes it's like unfathomable to me when they can't, like someone's really close to the ball and hasn't picked up the ball.
Yeah. My favorite thing in youth basketball is somebody dribbles from full court and like there'll be people on defense and they'll just watch him go by.
Well,
It's not my guy.
Yeah, it's not my guy. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's your guy, just get the ball.
Yeah, stop the ball.
Yeah. So that's the help side essentially is being prepared for those times when that person gets beat. So I call this like effective communication versus just communication. It's important that I'm not saying help, 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 because that's what coaches teach you, right? It's like when you're in help, scream help. When you're on ball, scream ball.
But then they'll also teach you if you get beat, start yelling help.
Yeah.
It's very
help,
confusing.
Help. Yeah. So who's helping? Are you now in help? It's a lot. So then I don't even speak the whole time. And they think if you're not communicating, then something's wrong. Like if you're not talking the whole time. But that just wins people out.
Yeah.
So effective communication is important. So
that was actually one of my questions was, is there such a thing as too much communication?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's nonsense. So now you're just saying words to fill air.
Yep.
And then you're probably louder maybe than someone who needs to be speaking. And they're relying on you now, what you're saying, and they're not going to say anything because, well, if I even speak up, no one's going to hear me because you're saying, help, 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 ball, ball, ball.
Yeah.
I'm huge on, if I'm in help side, I literally say to the person that's supposed to be getting help up there, hey, I've got low, you're up. And I'll say their name.
Yeah.
Like, Sally, you've got up. Hey, Jen, I've got your drive if you're over here. And that's it. And then
funny is even with you kind of like mimicking what you're doing, I can see the microphone levels.
Yeah.
When you mimic actually what you're saying and how you're saying it, your volume like goes up. It must be just ingrained into you.
Yeah, I'm screaming.
Yeah.
Did I scream there?
No, you're
Did the
fine.
window almost break?
No, it rattled.
It rattled.
Yeah. I could imagine because when you go to youth games, it's quiet-ish, but quiet. Like I've been to your games. And they're not quiet.
No. And it's talking the whole and I think my biggest thing is if I get hit by a screen that you didn't tell me about.
Oh yeah.
My skin just like raised fire. Like I'm just like, I can't believe you wouldn't tell me.
What hurts more? Running into a screen that you didn't know was there, or a ball flying over.
Don't put the clip back in. Don't you dare. And then you cut it
right there. All right. So that kind of answers the question about too much communication. I think you've kind of semi-answered this already, and I think it's a know your personnel type situation. But what is the philosophy between like helping early and like staying home?
Yeah.
Like how do you kind of fill that out? Is that through the scouting report? Like, is that pre-planned or is that something you're taking from the
game? It's a way that the coach has kind of deemed what we're going to do on defense. So each team I've been on, we do something differently. We overhelp, or not even overhelp. I wouldn't use that word because that sounds like it's wrong. It's more I'm presenting my help way earlier than I would at a team back in college.
Yeah.
So my college team, it was like right on the block. That's where we're going to stop them from getting layups. And a new team I'm on is we're switching.
Yep.
Like, so we're getting here. I'm switching this person. And now this person drops. This person moves over. So it's all deemed. And that's what I talked about before. You have to be on the same page.
Yep.
If one person's doing a defense they learned 3 years ago, and then we're doing this new defense, then we're basically just find the open person, let them score. That's what we're essentially saying to them. So it's deemed first by the coach, and it's up to us to commit to buy in to what they've taught us and what we're going to do.
What's your current in this? Maybe because this is kind of a scheme question as well. Let's say there's a switch, the big gets dragged out to the perimeter. Is there any way to help them out to get them off of that, or is they're guarding the ball, they're stuck there?
Oh, you need a plan. So if we're switching. We shouldn't be switching with the big anyway, but if accidentally, let's say, running on the floor, you got a guard, off ball, switch off always. But if somehow they've switched, let's say the screen was too low and they had to switch it, then I would say teach a post how to play against a guard.
Hmm.
Teach the most efficient way. Don't try to be like a guard and guard them efficiently. Bait them into shooting.
Yep. There.
Bait them into stepping back, doing a lower percentage shot than going downhill on you for a layup. And then once you bait them into shooting, same thing what I said, closing the hands, go close out as hard as you can with your length.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually.
So I think it's, again, preparation. It's understanding the situation you're in, teaching that to the best of your ability as a coach so that they're prepared for game day when it does happen.
So, in your current role, because
Mhm.
of your experience level, how good you are, and obviously, I guess this would relate to when you're coaching as well too. How do you help? Like, so again, you're in the help defense. How do you help a teammate that's just constantly getting cooked? Like they're just not, they don't have it that day. They just think the way I always think about it is like when like Miami gets like everybody just puts Tyler Hero into the pick and roll because he's just gonna get cooked.
Yeah.
Like specifically, I could imagine that's hard on the player
Yeah.
that's getting cooked. How do you deal with that as a leader on that team?
Well, and I've learned this over time. The worst thing you can do is make them feel worse. So to scream and yell at them.
You're like, you're useless.
Yeah, yeah. Get over the screen. Why aren't you getting over? Even though I struggle to get over screens. Um, I guess giving them a safe space to like mess up.
Hmm.
Because we're all gonna mess up. And if we hold them to a standard because they've messed up in this area, but later on I mess up in a different area, being completely mad at them is not going to help them any. It's kind of probably strengthening around them.
Hmm.
That would be the best bet. Is if we know, again, if I know this girl's probably going to get beat, and I see it all the time in practice scrimmages last years, this person's probably going to get beat because that person's super quick. I'm just going to go.
Just help early.
Go. Yeah, I'm just going to go help. And then I hope my rotation's there. And that's, I think, my biggest problem with defense here is there's no trust.
Mm.
So if I go and then they dump it down to my person and they score,
Yeah.
then next time I'm not going.
Yeah. Okay.
So that affects what the
That
rest of the defense does because of one
do they
person
not rotate when you go here?
They should.
But do they not?
They don't.
Okay.
For some reason, the person guarding up here, which if this is a hoop, guarding way up here, sticks to their man. If the ball's over here. And I begged and pleaded like constantly. And a couple of coaches have gone through the Xing out and the defensive structures on that. But this person, for some reason, I just don't think man's taught properly here. And that's okay. It just, they need to drop.
Yeah.
And then that person going over doesn't need to change what they're doing. Because next time they're just going to get a layup.
Yeah.
So I would say continue to do what you're supposed to do. Go help. But they're like, just trust the rotation and just don't be upset with anybody that's going to get cooked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
One of my favorite basketball stories. So one of my friends, Nick Torres, which I talk about on every podcast. So he is just an amazing, like technical person. Like, so he's an electrician. He installs security systems. He does everything to like, it's just perfect.
Okay.
Right. And we always have this conversation of like, all right, well, we have other technicians and junior technicians and they need to learn how to do it properly. And he'll be like, well, I don't really want to deal with that person because they're not as good as me.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, which is tough. And he's come a long way in that. He knows.
Okay, good.
But the way I always explain it is there's this Kawhi Leonard story where Kawhi Leonard was in college and he obviously is a great defender. And his coach was like, when you're on help defense, you need the help. And Kawhi Leonard's like, well, my player doesn't get past me. Why can't they just keep their player from getting past them? And his coach had to explain to him about how like, oh, well, not everybody is, a physical freak that can just stop everything. We have to actually work as a team and you need to.
Yeah.
And it was something and apparently he learned that well. And he's now Kawhi Leonard and he plays 2 games a year because, he's a third. And
he still just palms the ball.
I know.
I don't know why. That's the coolest thing. It's like just chilling, having a tea while he's palming the ball.
There was a NBA 2K game. I forget which one it was, but in the beginning of like your my career thing, you go to LA and you have to play Kawhi Leonard and you play Kawhi Leonard's character, but it's not voiced over. He never talks.
That makes sense.
It's just Kawhi Leonard like nodding his head. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Must have not gotten the rights to his laugh or anything. Yeah. That's right.
So the last one I kind of had on there was what leads to defenses falling apart, and I think you answered that. So
Mm.
really, it's people kind of going rogue, isn't it?
On defense, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like can attest to I was a rogue player for a while and still have my rogue moments because I think I can get a lot of steals.
Hmm.
And when I get too obsessed with that,
Hmm.
then I've created a disadvantage for my team. And I know personally when I watch my film back, I was like, that's my fault.
You
Right.
know, I might have overcommitted on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, no, definitely wasn't 100% one. And over time, I've learned to be way more contained. But yeah, as soon as somebody gets out of positioning or gets broken down, one person it
Yeah.
takes. That's why we build these like ways of helping them out is well, we know somebody's going to mess up at one point. We're not all perfect. So we're other four are going to form kind of a situation, a scramble, we like to call it,
Hmm.
of figuring it out until we get back to 5-on-5.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the opposite side of that, I know the New Zealand teams call that dominoes,
Oh, okay.
where they want you to get you into that scramble,
Yeah.
and hopefully they feel like they'll win that before you
Yeah,
get to the
find
five,
it. Yeah.
which is that's good. I found that in youth basketball here in Australia, and probably the same in America, if we're being honest, is people praise steals so much. So if you shoot the gap and you get a steal and it goes down for an easy layup, it is it is just like the best thing that happens in that
Yeah.
game for people. And then kids learn that so they're basically leaving a 5-on-4. They're creating a 5-on-4 situation by trying to get these shooting the
Yeah.
gap every
Yep.
single time. Yeah, see it all the time.
Yeah, and then you have to realize, I think we don't teach because I didn't learn this, but we didn't teach that that was putting our like the rest of our team
Hmm.
in an
Yeah.
issue. I'm creating an issue for my own
Yeah,
team.
you're creating a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember times running back being like, oh, I wonder where I go to. Not understanding, hey, you just F this up for us.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is more, they need to just teach that mindset. It's like, oh, hey, you're messing this up.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
And I do like the on a string kind
Yeah.
of thing. And again, with security, it's the same thing. All the different things have to work together. Like if you have just a camera system, it's not going to do anything. You'll have footage of somebody breaking into your building, but it won't alert
Here's
it.
the guy in a
Yeah,
cap and a
yeah.
hoodie and
That's the funny thing about security cameras is you can spend $50,000 on security cameras. It can all be beaten by a hoodie. It is about having multiple things that
yeah.
are kind of all looking in. So if we go to put your 4-5 hat back on again from college. All
I'll
right.
post up.
Yeah, post up. So this is something I don't know much about, right? So as somebody who follows a lot of basketball, what what makes a good defender versus a non-defender, a Gobert versus Cat, right?
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
what is that skill set that Gobert is doing that? I mean, Carl Anthony Towns is probably a great defender. He just maybe doesn't try it. I don't
He
know.
probably doesn't care enough about it. But he's had enough chats with Steve Kerr and Obama. I
I
okay.
was gonna do an impersonation. I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
an
do it.
impersonation.
No, do
No,
it.
no, no. I could do a Steve Kerr. This is it. This is my
That's
Steve
Steve
Kerr.
Kerr.
And it's like
Ah.
aging white guy.
Aging white. He's really good at that. So I would, what makes it a great defender is just mindset. Like I would say, if you care about it,
Mm,
if you give it your all, if you think this is as important or even more important than me scoring on this end, then you're gonna bring it.
mm,
And again, with the physicality, if you're the one that's soft and just not, just off ball, being lazy, watching the ball, then you're a liability. And if you're locked in on defense, just like you'd be locked in on offense, or you see this with the ball, like on offense, if you're off ball, like the guy with the ball will be so locked in trying all these things. And then once he's off ball, he just standing there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
chilling. In fact, that's all it is understanding the entirety of the game, how
Mhm.
important this integral part of defense is for the entirety, and then just giving a shit about it.
Yeah,
I cussed.
that's okay. 5 push-ups.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we also had a pick and roll question, but we kind of talked about that.
Mhm.
Do you like the jamming from the
Yeah,
big on
yeah.
the pick and roll? Yeah. How does the bigs communication to the team differ from perimeter help defense, or is it basically the same?
Well, I think it's essentially zone.
Hmm.
So when you have the 2-1-2, the big in the middle is the most important part. They can see everything
Yeah.
and communicate everything. And then we can go back to ball screens, calling them.
Hmm.
I tell this to the post, and I have seen such a turn and change in post players by communicating this and showing them. So I'll be like, okay, look at this real quick, and I'll turn the post around. And I was like, can you see me right now? And she's like, no. I was like, that's what we're seeing when we're guarding the ball.
Yeah.
So if you don't call the screen, I don't know it's there. You see that it's there, and you might think I know it's there, but I don't. I can't see it. And
Hmm.
I can't see unless you're communicating to my right screen. So that's what I would say how important posts are to create like offensive defensive rebounds are them as well. But if they're not hitting people, if they're not being aggressive, then they're not going to get any of them.
Mm.
They're just going to turn and be unlocked in. So yeah, I would say the communicate like they're one of the most important parts. They're almost our roots, especially in those zone where if you don't tell me there's a backdoor cut, I can't see it.
Yeah.
If you're not back there being like, hey, this is coming through. Hey, corner person's cutting back, and you're talking those things, then we don't have a basis, a foundation for us to start the zone defense. And it allows the outside people, the perimeter people, to do more.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I
100%.
know this person's behind me, this big ripper
Well,
back there.
that trust thing you were talking about,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So now I can get up and in a little bit more because I know they're going to have my back because I
Mm.
can hear them back there.
Beautiful.
So
To name drop, who's the best communicating big that you've played with?
communicating big the whole time.
I mean, yeah, I mean, unless they only do it for 10 minutes. Okay.
Oh,
Then you're like, oh, she communicated really good for 10 minutes every game and then went quiet. No, who is the one that you trusted behind you? Like,
the most.
yeah, if we had to take somebody you played with and we're building your team for the future, who are you gonna have on defense
Oh
back
man,
there?
there was a girl. Her name was Jenna Anderson. I'm actually going to her wedding this next weekend,
Oh, nice.
and she was our 4 player.
Congratulations.
Yeah, go Jenna. Um, and this is why we're probably still friends. Is we were able to communicate so effectively on the court, and we'd go in together as well. And I think that's a huge thing too. If you want to get more simpatico with your teammate, go in and just shoot with them.
Mhm.
That's it. But she would call screens left, right, loud. She would be talking the whole time. And then she held people accountable for communication as well. So if somebody wasn't calling a screen as a fellow post, she'd be like, call that screen every time. I
Mhm.
call it for them. And that's what I think I admired about her and made me talk more on defense and then carried that on to my next teams is, well, I expect that if she can do it, then anybody can do it. So then I expected that for most post players.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you're setting a standard, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, this is possible now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like being young and being quiet is no longer an option. Like I think I've had coaches even say that. Well, I mean, she is 19.
Yeah.
Well, she does have a quiet personality. It's like, well, are you teaching her anything different then? Are you just accepting that behavior? It's like her realizing that she's hurting her team is going to make her talk a lot louder.
Yeah. No, that's good. I love that. So from the security side, just to tie it in,
Yeah.
this is why I always think of when I'm using my analogy, I always use the big as the monitoring center.
Okay.
So let's say in a normal alarm system side, you have cameras
Yep.
that are getting footage, you have detectors, so like motion detectors, door reads, things like that. And then you have other things like your locks and your swipes and stuff like that. All of that information basically comes in through to the control room, and then the control room gets this huge screen. So as stuff comes in, they have to action it. So if they get a motion detection from a zone, they bring the camera up that's associated with that zone. They can then check it against it, and they can go, oh, that's somebody in a black hoodie. And then they can call the police. And the
Wow.
police will actually go straight out, and then they can call the client and be like, hey, I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry for waking you up, but we've had to send the police to your site because there's a person with a black hoodie that smashed a window to go in. And that communication is pretty good. Is it recording still? All right, cool. So
Thanks, Izzy.
now, but that's kind of why that's hub. That's the same way I feel about like the 4-5 is
Okay.
on that defense is being able to be like, all right, the corner's coming in, all
Yeah.
right, this is coming in, because all those other devices and all those other players rely on that central communication
to come
do
back
it.
too. Okay.
Yeah, it's why I always find it such a good analogy. Like
Yeah.
half court defense works perfectly for what security
for
is.
that. And the zone defense thing would
The
be,
zone
yeah,
defense is probably really good because man, we don't have cameras chasing around people yet.
yeah, that's
Uh,
we're waiting the drones.
we're working
Oh
on
my
it.
God.
So we're actually looking at specifically ground-based drones.
Hmm.
So things with like wheels and stuff like that. Think
You
of,
showed me a video.
oh, did I show you? It's like right here.
Yeah.
We also Nectario sent me a video recently that was a camera that has like a paintball gun built into it and can actually shoot paintballs and like taser like little spark balls things
Love
out
that.
of the camera. I can't imagine that's going to be legal.
Yeah, because that's if you upgrade that one, you're
Yeah.
killing someone.
um. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and we've talked a lot about defense, which is great.
Defense.
I do love that. I love basketball. It's always good to talk to
You
you.
do.
So let's talk briefly about you and what you're doing for the next year here. Let's go ahead and start with your social media because it is spectacular, right?
Thank you.
So where can everybody find your stuff?
Well, my stuff is on Instagram and TikTok at bhoops basketball.
Mhm.
And it's Instagram's probably the bigger place that I post most of the stuff. And yeah, it's about getting kids better. That's all I cared about when I started making these videos. And I used to have kind of a mass media background, so the whole cutting videos and stuff is intriguing to me. It takes a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but at the same time, it must be hitting home with some people because it's grown a lot over the past couple months. And yeah, please follow me.
Yeah. And I'll put all of your stuff in the show notes as
Okay,
well too,
amazing.
so people can just click on it because they're lazy.
Yes, like me.
Anyway, are you using? So you use CapCut, I
Yeah.
think, for both stuff. Are you actually doing it off your phone, or is there like a?
Off my phone.
That's insane.
I think it's easier.
Is it?
Yeah,
Do you
it's
find
just
it easier?
it's
Okay.
yeah, you drag and do all you need, and I learn something new about it almost every day. And
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, this is easier. I'm gonna do this and this time instead, and it's like it's next level.
There you go. We'll have to. I'll have to. Then my challenge to you is here's what I want. I want a video of you like jumping and like jumping through a hoop, like using CapCut magic. Like, have you watched all the CapCut like edit
I
thing?
see there's so many
Yeah.
things you could do with that.
That's what I want to see. I want to see you fall through a hoop. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do
That's
my
my
best.
challenge.
What if it looked awful?
Who cares?
Okay,
Yeah.
true.
That's actually so something that I've had to learn is because I'm super duper self-conscious about things like my face.
Oh,
Yeah.
it should be.
Here's my
I bet.
face.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if it's bad, then people don't watch it. That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
If it's good, people love it and they watch it. But if it's bad, nobody's gonna be like, I'm gonna
True.
come to your house, Jeremy, and kill you. It's not that. It's
Yes.
people just don't care and they just
If
keep
they try to
playing.
come to this house though,
A lot of
it's
security.
security up.
Yeah, a lot of security. I have a big truck in the front that says security all
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also a camera.
This is not a
And shoots
camera.
paintballs at people.
Oddly enough, that camera does kind of look like that. It's a big
Does it?
globe thing. Yeah, yeah, it is
I
cool.
want one now.
I will be splicing in footage from the two little security cameras here, so people can
Get
see
the
the
gym
footage.
from the office for me, like you're talking and I'm like,
Yeah. All right. So I think that kind of covers everything I need. Is there anything you want to touch on for what you're working on this year? Oh, give us a shout out to the team you're on this year.
oh yeah, I just I just recently signed with the Sunshine Coast Phoenix. It's my first year with them. I've signed a 2+1. So if you want to come watch me play in the Sunshine Coast or at Northside or at any other place in Brisbane, you can come at 6 p.m. Watch the men's after, and just check us out. Check our socials out, Sunshine Coast Phoenix socials, and yeah, follow along.
You could do what I do, and I go and I watch the women's game, and then I go home.
I love that you do that because people do show up halfway through the women's, and we see that.
Well, I would like to say that it's because the men are boring and the women are way better, but honestly, there's too many people sometimes, and I'm like, my social anxiety kicks in, and I'm like, I'm out of here.
Man,
Let's fall asleep.
Why
No,
did you say that?
no,
It's
I'm
so
just
hurtful
I
to our
am just
brand.
playing, but
Please watch women's basketball.
no,
It's not that.
I will. So here's what I will say: is men's basketball at the level that they're playing in NBL1 is a lot of dudes running into each other in transition and trying to draw fouls or trying to kick it back out to a three. The women's game is far more paced it actually has like you so almost too much. We're going to be running a play. We're going to be running an action. We're going to see what happens off this action and come out of that. During the finals, well, not maybe not the finals. So the game that you guys played against Laura McSpadden's team, Rockhampton, maybe.
Rockhampton, yeah.
Like the amount of big on big screening down in the post for Rockhampton's team was spectacular. Like
Yeah.
it was fun to watch. It's something that you don't really see with the
Yep.
men's team at this level. Like I can watch the Warriors, and the Warriors are running good actions and a lot of stuff. But at this level, it's kind of like watching the Kings play,
Yeah.
and they're just kind of like just running as fast as they can and putting up shots. And there is an excitement level to that, but it's not really what I want to watch.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That saved you a little.
I do appreciate it.
Mm.
I was joking about my butt falling asleep. Although
sure.
they could make comfier seats
Yeah,
if
they
they
could.
tried. No.
Or it makes sense with my leg to, I don't know, butt ratio.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
north side, but like anyway.
Well, I still remember that the first time I actually ever spoke to you was we were at, I want to say Sunshine
We were at
Coast.
Sunshine Coast. I remember.
And you came and you finished your game. You came and sat down with my family there, and I was like,
And it was you, me, your family.
Yeah,
So I'm
and-
like, this random guy, I don't know.
yeah, and it was one of those situations where it's like, because a lot of times, like I'm more quiet. Like obviously I talk a lot on here, but when I'm out in the world, I'm really quiet. But and I was just like, do you want me to do? I don't even know why I asked this, but I was like, do you want me to move so you could have more room? I'll go stand over there or something. And you're like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're
No.
just sitting here
Yeah.
first. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a solid point.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You've earned the spot.
Yeah, and but that's just I'm like I want to make sure
Yeah.
everybody else is comfortable. Like that's how I kind of live life. But
Well, and I mean, you give off this uber positive energy, and you have great humor, and I'm just very lucky to know you and your family. And that I felt bad because I didn't know that you were
part of the
until
family.
yeah, because he's dad. I just remember being like, this guy next to me has a nice American accent. That's
Yeah.
nice to hear. And then you kept like butting into our conversation. I'm like,
You're like,
okay,
who's this
yeah.
guy?
And then Chantel started to talk to you. I'm like, oh, must know each other. Oh, they live at home together.
Oh, he belongs to her.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
everything
yeah.
makes sense.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and cut it there because we have gone for an hour and 22 minutes.
Oh my
Hasn't felt that
God.
long, though, has it? This is good.
No way.
This is by far the best podcast I've done.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good?
yeah,
Okay.
100%.
And one was with your son.
I mean, yeah, I'm not done with Izzy.
Oh.
Maybe I'll do one with Izzy, and I'll just be like, "Why are you so short?
Yeah.
You know, like, why can't you grow more?"
It's 5 minutes.
Because then she gets pissed off and leaves.
Yeah.
It would end with me having to do a TikTok dance with her. That's what it would be.
Really?
Yeah, and
No grittying, because if you gritty,
I get gritty. She tried to teach
See?
me. She tried to teach me a
Yeah.
TikTok dance. I can't remember.
uh,
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. I'll talk to the microphone. So, and thank you for coming
of course,
in. Obviously,
anytime.
this has been wonderful, and I actually hope. I think this is kind of set. We were talking about you having that really good big. That kind of, what was her name? Jenna.
Jenna, yeah.
Yeah, that set kind of the standard.
Yeah.
I think we've set a standard for the podcast.
If no one is better than me in the next, I don't know, year,
Uh-huh.
you bring me back on.
I'll bring you back
And I'll
on.
reset
I'll bring you
that
back on
standard.
every 2
Okay.
weeks. I don't even
Do
care.
it.
This has been wonderful. We're talking about the two things that I spend most of my life looking at is
Yes,
basketball
basketball.
and security. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is great.
And next time, if you want to talk more about security and not about basketball, just
I'm okay just talking about basketball.
Yeah,
To be honest,
okay.
I'm like,
it's fine with me.
it's one of those things where again, it's a very good tool to use as an analogy. So if people watch this and they learn something about basketball and then they talk to me about security, it's easier for me to go, okay, you know how
Sure.
we were talking about X, this is exactly the same thing.
Nice.
So
Okay.
so that's what we're doing here. And then
Okay.
obviously we'll get some of your hopefully people who watch it from my end will also follow you. Follow her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. And thank you to everybody for watching. Again, it's the FAQing Security Podcast with me, Jeremy. Have I explained to you the FAQing thing yet?
Frequently asked questions.
All right. So my original idea was it's kind of a play, but I'm trying not to curse, right? So it's the FAQing Security Podcast. Originally, my brain it was the FAQing Security Podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
But that's not cursing.
that's not cursing,
Mm.
but it may be hit by like a social thing and they may go, oh, cursing.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how that works. Anyways, thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you guys again soon, and thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you.
Excellent work.
Good stuff.
Hey, good stuff.
That was very flowy.
I hope so.
Really good at
was
that.
it comfortable?
Yeah, you're really good at this. Keep doing it.
All right. Thank you.
Well, it's just the most flowed I've felt in any podcast I've been on.
How many
Not that it's
podcasts
been,
have you
but
been?
This is the fifth.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,